allow ourselves to be defined and perceived and characterized as a race of people that when you talk about the poor, you immediately jump to black. When you talk about welfare, you immediately jump to black. When you talk about anyone on the dole taking money out of the government coffers, you immediately jump to black. When we are not the largest recipient, we are not the largest taker. As a percentage of beneficiaries, we're not the largest beneficiary. I don't care what our population size is. Yeah, as a population, yeah, there's a disproportion, but as a beneficiary of these programs, we're not. So my point is, why do we allow ourselves to be perceived writ large as this program is here for them? And so that's my first little beef with the whole idea of government subsidies and institutional welfare programs and the like. They benefit everybody who's poor. Why do we exist in a society that way? Why is it that when the unemployment rate is at 10%, ours is 18%? Okay, so
why do you think it is?
Well, I think for a number of reasons, starting with the fact that our kids are more oftentimes miseducated and therefore unable to get the jobs that are available in the marketplace. Why is that? What's black leadership doing about that? I mean, we have black leadership representing some of the worst public schools in the country. Why is that? Oh, and look in the classroom, it's a bunch of black kids in there. Why do we allow? We don't see that happening in suburbia. We don't see that happening in rural America. So why is it that in the concentration of where we are, whether it's with our schools, whether it's with job programs, et cetera, that we're not benefiting from all the money we spend on public education?
What is your opinion on just the state of representation, people who represent? Are there enough people with a vested interest in true progress actually representing black people?
No. I give them the D to be generous. I give them a D grade. When I look at the state of the community, I give our so-called black leadership a D, and that's just because my mama taught me to be nice. They failed miserably. They have. There are two types of leaders in the world. There are those standing in the door who are picking and choosing who gets to come in to the room. And there are those who stick their foot in the door and push as many people into the room as they can to keep the door from, stick their foot in the door to keep the door from closing. So you have the gatekeeper, you have the brother who's the gatekeeper, which I would characterize a lot of our black leaders as. And you may hate me for saying that, and you may, if you look at this, may go, oh my God, but I just look around you, bro. Just look around you. If that's not true, then tell me where I'm wrong in that assessment. And then you have those who genuinely try to bring as many folks into the room as possible. They may front as a gatekeeper because that's the only way you can get to that position. But once they're there, they're like, no, come on, man, come on, here, come on in. But there are very, very few of those. There are very, very few of those, and that's unfortunate. And again, it goes back to, if you're looking at race and racism, slavery and all of this is a part of that same continuum. Back in the day, you had black folks, even when they got the word that the Emancipation Proclamation had been signed and they were free, said no, wouldn't leave the plantation, would not leave the plantation. And that's why we now celebrate Juneteenth, because that was some 3 years after the Emancipation had been signed. Folks said, oh, you mean we really are free? So you have that. Then you have those who even during the course of our enslavement, were more interested in masses' interests than the interest of the people that they were enslaved with. In other words, there were very few Harriet Tubmans. There should have been many more. But you had the gatekeeper, and you had the Harriet Tubmans, who were the ones, come on, y'all, come on. And that, again, when you flash forward for me into the modern era, that was a little bit of the tension between, Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. Malcolm X wanted to be the guy who was like, enough of this. This is about economics, because you remember, Malcolm X began to change his argument a year or two before his death, really focusing on, I get the power of America, it's money. And we are powerless because we don't have the money. We make it for everybody else. So now how do we take this investment that we're making in everybody else and make it in us? King was taking a different approach and was like, let's get inside the institution, let's get in the room, and then we can begin to change from in the room. And Malcolm was like, I ain't got time to go in the room. Because he figured out going in the room, there's a co-optation there. You get co-opted, which is what I would say has happened to a lot of our black leaders. That radicalness is gone. They're not there fighting. They're now at the table, sipping on gin and juice.